let me start. Taxes are an important thing to be aware of. You know, you want to be not committing accidental crimes, which is not something that you guys are going to be really doing at your age, but it is good to be aware of what how they work before you get into a point where you need to be paying them. So just to recap what my expectations are, my norms, so to speak, of this activity, just like credit card or our credit card discussions that we've had. I don't like calling on direct students exactly. So you guys have your table groups, which is from Will to Omar is group 1. Ethan to Mason is group 2. Caden to Marcus today, since they're not, some folks are absent, is group, what group are you guys? You're group 6. Bryn to Sion, group 3. And then Jack to Caden, group 4. And then Kayla, Avery, and Kate, you guys are group 5. No, wait, that's backwards. You guys are group 6. In the back, you're group 5. I'm going to make it less confusing. Now that I look at it like this, it's not the easiest to understand. But anyway, so what I'm going to do was we're going to start by watching some videos, and then I have the board set up for each of these videos here. I'm going to call on groups to share some of your takeaways, and so you guys will have a chance to discuss and actually come up with an answer of some kind so that you have something to share in case your group gets called on. Make sense? Okay, cool. So we're going to start with Taxes 101 from the same friends that showed us Jasmine and other things of that nature. So I'm going to do this. And so that was a lot of numbers and a lot of names and a lot of information all at once. Even I understand that. So I'm not expecting you guys to have fully memorized all of the information that just came at you. Instead, what I have are a couple definitions that I see very frequently, because most of these considerations are if you're doing your taxes in a very detailed manner without a tool like, I'm not a huge TurboTax fan, but some other tools of that nature for specifically filing a tax return. A lot of this stuff is done out for you, but it is important to know a couple key terms like AGI. We're going to define what an exemption is. We're going to define what an expense is, as well as what is a tax credit. So these are some things that you can start to be aware of in your lives thus far. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on a clock here. So 9:13 on the wall, if I did my math right. Maybe 5 minutes is enough. We'll go 7. 9:15. That makes an easier number. 9:15, I'm going to roll the dice so I can call on some folks. I'm going to put these questions in your thread so you can start looking for them before we move on to the next video. Okay? Sound good? So your time starts now. Discuss with your groups, coming up with some of these definitions, like what is AGI? What is, you can Google these. What is an exemption? What is a tax exemption?
That is a circumstance where you just don't have to tax.
And then finally, what is a tax credit? Okay, so I'm linking this video just now to your thread. You have until 9:15 to come up with some answers to these questions in the replies. What is AGI? What is a tax exemption? What is a tax expense? And what is a tax credit? I'm going to add it on the big screen here as well. Okay, here's your questions that I need to know what these are that I'll be calling on for. Your phones should still be put away since we're still in class doing class discussion stuff. I'm going to roll my dice. We're going to see which group shares first. I want to see there's 4 questions. So I want to hear from at least, I'm going to roll 4 times. Let's see what we got. Okay, group number 1, which is Garen, Omar, and Isaac. What did you guys, which definition did you guys come up with? With AGI? Okay. Which is what?
It's Just your, well, it's adjusted, but it's total income. Minus any like deductions that you have.
Minus deductions. And deductions are like some things, exemptions and expenses and stuff like that. Yeah.
Just like. We'll want to say taxes.
Yeah, it's not super clear what a deduction is exactly. So we're gonna also come up with a definition for that at some point today. Good job. Thank you, group number 1. All right, let's see who's next. Group number 4. Who's group number 4? I believe that's Bryn to Sion. If I have my double check. This isn't confusing even for me, so that means it needs to change. Group 4, actually, I was wrong, is Jack, Yashvir, Caden, and Lindsay. Which of these definitions on the board here, screen, did you guys find an answer to? I'm gonna write out the first one, so. You guys have any that you would like to share?
Tax credit is money that taxpayer can back from the income tax.
Money taxpayers subtract from the income they owe or
Income tax.
okay, so, and that's an expense or an exemption? Or which one was tax credit, you said? Okay, sorry. Can you give it to me one more time?
But money that taxpayers subtract.
Subtract from Inc. tax. Thank you. You can just say it. There you go. Perfect. That's all I'm looking for. It's all I need. So we're gonna add that to the board definitions here. That is money that taxpayers can subtract from the income tax that they owe. Cool. All right, sweet. Thank you. All right, next group. Next group is group number 3. Hi, welcome in. Group number 3, that is, who's group number 3? This time it is Bryn to Sion. So, of you guys over there, Leo, Rue, Bryn, and Sion, which did you have a definition for an exemption or an expense? Okay.
It's a dollar amount that's deducted from the people's total income, reducing the taxable.
So if I heard you right, an exemption is a dollar or a monetary deduction from the total income that reduces their taxable income, right? Perfect. Yeah, and I'll put that into better words on the screen behind me. So, thank you, group 4. That's exactly what I'm looking for. This is the last group. I want you guys to define what a tax expense is. A tax expense, we just heard from group 4. We have not heard from group 6 yet, which is Kayla, Avery, and Kate. What do you guys, how did you define a tax exemption? I mean, an expense, sorry. Okay. Money, biz, or individual owes to the government. Perfect. So now we've got some working definitions. When you see these terms, I will put them into less note-taking words into your thread and on the big screen. Cool, exactly. So now that you guys know that I'll be calling on your groups, you should definitely have an answer prepared of some kind, even if it is just straight off of Google. We're not going to get into the deep depths of how taxes work and how they function in this class because A, I don't have that experience or knowledge, and B, it's not that relevant to your guys' life at the current state. But however, it is great having the words to define things, because if you don't know how to ask the question, it will never get answered. If you don't have the language to describe something, then it doesn't get you any further in figuring out what you're actually trying to figure out. So it's kind of a long way of saying today's a very like vocab heavy type of day. So I'm going to add the notes that we've taken from the first video to our screen while we queue up the second one, which is probably all we're going to have time and brain space for, to be honest. Make sure that where's my Zoom meeting? Cool. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Next video is just talking about federal taxes and who needs to pay them, which, spoiler alert, is most of us. Start recording once again. All right. So same situation. Again, a lot of numbers. Let me record. Okay, we're good. A lot of numbers, a lot of, it's confusing on purpose. It is designed to confuse you so that the government could keep doing what they've been doing, for better or for worse. But at the same way that we did the first one, I have a couple questions on here that I'm going to add to your big screen in just a second. Hi, welcome back. Do this, thank you. There's my little head. All right, so we're gonna define a dependent. You can spell that right. We're also gonna ask, do you need to file? Which is a question we can answer later with that cool IRS tool. We're also gonna define an independent. And then when is tax day? Tax day. When can you start filing? Okay, so you got a new set of questions here. We're going to define a dependent. Sorry, I'm trying to structure this in a way that makes sense. Define a dependent, define an independent. When is tax day and when can you start filing? Okay, so same deal. You guys are gonna we'll go 5 minutes this time to come up with the definitions of some of these. I'm pretty sure I spelled them wrong, but whatevs. And I'm also gonna post them in your thread and find that IRS file tool. So good luck, 5 minutes on the clock. I will start calling on folks at about 9:33 or so. And then these will be the two videos that we watch today on taxes, because honestly, I'm feeling burnt out on them already, and I can't imagine how you guys are feeling as well. So let's come up with some definitions just to have some more working knowledge, and I'll call on you here in about 5 minutes. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to start rolling so we can get these definitions put together. We're going to start with, if you were previously called on, you can be called on once again. It resets because it's a new discussion. So let me start my video. In theory, come on. All right, so I'm rolling my dice. Group number 6, you guys are up first. Do you want to define a dependent, an independent? Tell me when tax day is, or ask if you need to file. 1, 2, 3, or 4. You're gonna go dependent or dependent number 1. Okay. And that's all they are? Which is okay, I'm just curious. Qualifying child or relative of the taxpayer. Yeah, it's in the name. They are dependent on the taxpayer for some type of something. So that's correct. All right, good job. Oops, a bad roll. Floor rolls do not count. Okay, group number 1. You guys are up. Do you want to define an independent? tell me when tax day is, or ask if you need to file. Okay, which is? Mhm. Yeah. So you are the solely responsible party for reporting and filing your own taxes. So your parents file, your parents file as independents, and you are their dependents. So you don't have to worry so much about a lot of the details of filing taxes. But once you become independent, then you will usually get a higher return because your money's not going to your independent filers, and B, you are now responsible for all of your taxes. Okay, can anybody tell me when tax day is? I won't roll for this because we only got 2 minutes left. It is a day in April. Anyone tell me when tax day is? Thank you. And do you have to file on April 15th, or can you file at any time? Of the previous year? Oh, I guess it's the same year. Yeah. Okay, so that's your range. You got April to or January to April. And then do you need to file? Most of you, the answer is no, unless you work. And then you will need to file. Cool. All right. Well, everybody take a deep breath. We have conquered some tax definitions, some things that are important to know, but will take forever to figure out or for you to be even exposed to. Thank you guys for this for doing the group discussions. Ideally, I would like a little bit more discussing to happen, but I know this is kind of a new thing that I'm trying, and it's also a pretty difficult subject to just pull off of a YouTube video. So again, I appreciate you in the process, but do trust it. You guys have a lot of social energy. I know I've seen it. Let's put it to an educational use in this case. Okay, anyway, that's all I have for y'all. I'm gonna ingest some of these definitions and post them to your thread. So we have all these working numbers to work with. You don't have to do any assignment related to taxes. With this remaining time, you can finish up your credit card assignments, which are due tonight at midnight. And yeah, that's our day. 2, 4.